It was a routine traffic stop that ended as anything but. A male officer crossing the line with a female suspect by sending her shocking text messages just hours after pulling her over.
While his department took his badge, he didn't have to wait long to find a new one. Tonight, 7 investigator Ross Jones reveals how yet another troubled officer went from fired to hired.
Now, we do have to warn you, some of the details in this story might be disturbing.
We enforce the law. We write tickets. We make arrests. We help victims. We don't make a person a victim.
The misconduct committed by Officer Joseph Ashley was deemed outrageous by his department, forced a prosecutor's office to stop pursuing a case, and cost the officer his badge. Just not for very long.
Why would you hire a police officer who sent a picture of his penis to a woman that he had just pulled over?
I can't comment.
As an officer with Canton Township, Joseph Ashley wasn't a stranger to wrongdoing. 3 times in 3 years, he'd been found to have engaged in conduct that caused high risk for the public, twice failing to turn on his emergency equipment while speeding or disregarding traffic control devices, and in another case, continuing a vehicle pursuit even after his supervisor ended it, putting other drivers at potentially lethal risk.
Hello. Hello, how are you today?
Good. But it's what Ashley did on a night in August of 2022 that would trigger his firing. Misconduct that Canton police worked to conceal from public view.
Don't move your head and don't move your head back, okay?
The department only agreed to release this body cam video to Channel 7 if they could blur all of it. When they provided a copy of their investigation into Ashley's misconduct, much of it had been redacted.
Just place your right foot in front of your left foot, just like that.
That night, Officer Ashley and his partner pulled over a female driver who they said struggled to stay in her lane. They suspected she was drunk and performed a field sobriety test.
11 1,000, 12 1,000.
Well, a PBT showed the woman had been drinking. At a .05, it was below the legal limit. She would be allowed to leave the scene, but wouldn't get off scot-free. Officers gave her 2 citations for her driving that came with a court date, where she'd face possible fines and points on her license. She could see one or both of the officers again in court.
We don't care if you drink or not, right? Okay, and that's totally fine, right?
On body cam, we can hear some of Officer Ashley's conversation with the woman.
It's not my business, how much you drink or whatever, right?
But seconds later, the audio stops, and not long after that, Ashley's body camera shuts off entirely. We don't know what was said after that.
Is there ever a good reason for a police officer to turn their body camera off in the midst of a stop?
Never. And never in my opinion.
Tom Barry is a retired Detroit police lieutenant who reviewed the investigation into Officer Ashley.
Why would you turn your body cam off? There's no reason to turn it off. Give her the tickets, get on your way, go to your next police run.
That didn't happen here. While the woman was free to leave, it wasn't long before she received a phone call from Officer Ashley after he and his partner realized they never returned her license. After that, according to a Canton police investigation, the two began exchanging texts. We can't see what was said because Canton police redacted all of the messages, but the department found that Ashley engaged in sexually overt texting with the woman. And according to an arbitrator's review of the stop, he made several offers to stop by the woman's home.
That's not normal, is it?
Normal? That's outrageous.
Ashley said the female driver was a willing participant in the sexual messages, and she would later tell Canton investigators she wanted to see how far this man was going to go. She got her answer when Ashley texted her a photo of his penis, a source confirms, along with the message, "LOL, please delete." Just some of the messages Canton officials hid under black ink. 2 days later, Officer Ashley would text the woman again, but this time she shut him down. "Please stop texting," she wrote. He complied. After that, Ashley told me he deleted all of his texts with the woman, not because he'd done anything wrong, he says, but out of respect for her. She would admit to deleting some of her texts, but shared the rest with Canton police.
He had the authority over her, in my opinion, and she didn't know what to do. She doesn't want to pay the tickets. Her insurance is going to go up $1,000. All those things are probably running through her mind. And this guy's trying to get a date. It's wrong.
When the prosecutor learned about Ashley's texts, the citations against the driver were dismissed. Canton Township fired Ashley, calling his behavior outrageous. He would appeal his termination to an arbitrator who ruled that Ashley deliberately turned off his camera during the encounter, calling it strongly suggestive he was hoping to cash in on the encounter. Ashley denies this, but the arbitrator upheld his firing.
When you're a policeman, you don't get that second chance because you're held to a higher standard.
Or maybe you do. Just 3 months after Ashley's firing in Canton was upheld, he was hired by Dundee Police, where he works today.
So as long as he wasn't charged with a crime, you were comfortable?
That was part of the decision-making process.
Randy Sell is Dundee's acting police chief and said the department performed a complete background check on Ashley. But he and township officials admitted they didn't know everything.
He turned off his body camera in the middle of that interaction. Did that trouble you at all?
I was not aware of that.
I'm not aware of those details.
Should you be?
Potentially.
Ashley would not agree to an interview, but by phone said he believed he was set up by the woman, that she initiated their sexual conversation, which he said was entirely consensual and happened off-duty. He said he turned off his body camera because he thought the stop was over, not to cover anything up. And he said he regrets his decisions, saying in part, "I have become a better human because of this experience. There is a lot of evil in this world, and I certainly learned from it."
People deserve second chances. People make mistakes in their lives, and I believe that everyone deserves a second chance.
This was a pretty big mistake.
Understood.
Well, I spoke with the woman who Officer Ashley and his partner pulled over that night. She did not want to talk with us on a camera and was shocked to learn that Ashley is still a police officer. Officers like Joseph Ashley, when they're terminated, they're supposed to get a second look from state watchdogs if they try to find work in a new agency, and Officer Ashley did. The Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards tells me that while Ashley was under investigation for his misconduct in Canton, his license was inexplicably reactivated by a state employee, allowing him to join the Dundee Police Department. That was not supposed to happen, but it did. I'm Ross Jones, 7 News Detroit.
Thank you, Ross, as always.